Yeah. They told me I wouldn't be nothing. They told me I wouldn't be nothing. But a statistic, better in prison. Look how.
Top of the top. Welcome to Mental Madness. This is your host KG. Appreciate you all for tapping in. This is episode 9, titled Priorities. I think I'm gonna break this up into 2 parts because I got some emails that wanted me to go into some topics that were pretty extensive. One of the emails definitely, actually 2 of them were definitely in alignment with my thought process and how I wanted to approach and the things I wanted to discuss as far as how we sometimes misprioritize, in my opinion. As always, I appreciate you all for tuning in. If you haven't already done so, make sure you press that subscribe button. Share with a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend, and tell that friend to tell a friend. Feel me? Let's just keep this going. Positive flow of conversation. Just giving y'all some insight of how, a lot of males think just based on my observations and engagement with men. And, just want to continue to create this platform for brothers to come on here and feel free to speak their mind without nobody being overly opinionated about them or telling them that they're wrong for feeling the way they feel or they should tighten up, man up, don't show no emotions. We don't do that here. So without further ado, let's get right into it. One of the things that was spoken about being misprioritized is that, and it's something that I've seen being trending on multiple, if not all, social media platforms. A lot of users are eager to be in relationships. And a sentiment that I shared that was said to me in the email was that majority of us don't even know who the hell we are. And as it was said to me in the email, they're not even speaking from a cultural standpoint. We're not going, tread down that road because I don't want to get into that because that's not what we're talking about. And I share these sentiments because I understand what this person was expressing to me in the email, who was going to remain anonymous because that's what they asked. It was just spoken about as people as far as, and I just said this to someone earlier, that we don't know who we are because a lot of us are basing our thought process, our approach to life, and our perspective on the premise and basis of what was taught to our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and then taught to our grandparents, and then taught to our parents, and that's being taught to us. A lot of the perspective and outlook that a lot of people have are based on traditional things that was ingrained in them as a child. And a lot of the stuff that was told to us from 60 years ago, in my opinion, is not applicable in 2022. I'm a realist. I'm a numbers guy. Anybody knows me knows that I'm about economics and finance. That's just the things that I enjoy. I enjoy reading. I enjoy researching. So anything that I come on here and speak on, I strive to have factual numbers to support my perspective. A lot of us don't know who we are. A lot of us are even basing our likes and dislikes on what society deems as popular or what we were told to believe is the way to go or how to look at it. When do we ever stop to ask ourselves as individuals, as adult individuals, do we even like this perspective? Or do we even agree with this? Is this something that we genuinely feel like we want to do or want to apply to our lives continuously and pass down to our children and they pass down to their children? Are we going to exercise to encourage each other to have an open mind? It's okay to have a different perspective outside of the mentality that they had in 1940 and 1950 and 60 and 70. You understand what I'm saying? Like, are we going to really challenge ourselves to step outside of this box that we were placed in from the time we came into this world and we were able to comprehend and walk and talk and come to our own conclusions? I'm not going to say make our own decisions because I believe at a certain age, I would say about maybe 12 or 13, we started to come to our own conclusions about certain topics or certain things. And that component in itself should be priority, understanding who you are, before we start to try to veer off into this trend of wanting to be married tomorrow after you just met this person today because it's boring out here. Like, when did in my upbringing, it was always expressed to me, my environment, the environment, even the societal standards were a bit different. You know, it was about get your degree, travel the world, learn who you are, so put yourself in position to be able to take care of a family, or for a woman to be able to contribute to a household, whether it be albeit, you know, y'all coming to the table financially equal, or whatever role that your partner may need you to play. You know, I've heard people always say they want a partner, they want to be a team. I'm a sports guy. When teams assemble, they assemble based on complementary pieces. You got to complement each other, and they have a common goal. Most people, when they go into these situations, from my observations and even my own way of going about things, we have ideas with no damn plan. We have an idea of what we want our relationship to look like without even knowing the tools that's needed to build it to that point. Our priorities are crazily out of order. Let me see that. You know, because to want to desire companionship more than you desire to put yourself in position to understand yourself, in my opinion, is absurd. Because how did you successfully commit to someone and build with someone when you're still like a pet project yourself? Because what if you meet a person that may be, you know, self-aware and understand who they are as an individual, and they may find you attractive and they may take the chance on trying to be compatible with you, and come to find out you're like a Build-A-Bear. You're somebody you got to build up. Equally yoked. It's an even playing field. Y'all both start here. You grow gradually together. And if one grows, he pulls the other one up, or she pulls the other one up. It's not, I'm here and you're here. That's a big gap for anybody to fill. And I don't think that for the women, when you meet a man and this is the situation, you're here and he's here, I don't think you should play yourself and try to, that's good. That's a big load to bear. That's a heavy burden to bear, in my opinion. Whether it be a woman doing it or a man doing it. You don't have to commit to that, no matter how physically attractive she is, no matter how big his bank account is, no matter how mesmerizing his wordplay may be, or how charming he is and it sucks you in. You have to observe it from a realistic standpoint. You're here, he's here. That's a big gap to fill. By the time you be done, thought that you have him at a level where y'all can be conducive to each other, you already drained. Because if a person is here and you here, when you're pouring into them and filling them up, they may fall back down. But then, listen, when you're pouring into them, because they may not even have the qualities or the tools to pour back, you become empty. And you need some reprieve, and you need some retreat. That's not healthy. So prioritize understanding who you are, what your individual goals are, and how this other person, individual goals, levels out to where y'all both are on the same level, and how to examine and observe each other to see if you have the tools to build to reach the goals that you're trying to build individually and collectively. Again, teams are assembled to complement each other. The pieces are made to complement each other, and they have a common goal. A lot of people say they want teamwork, companionship, but they have no goals, or they're generalized. Oh, I want generational wealth. Oh, I want to live a life while I can travel. Those are all good things to want, but how the hell did you get there? All of you that have this mindset to spew these things out of your mouth, how you get those things? Are you comfortable enough with having a conversation with the individual that may be the light of your eye, or that you may be in a courtship with, or making a decision to engage in a courtship with? Are you willing to have those conversations? Like real ones. Anybody can be idealistic. Anybody can have an idea in their mind of what they want, but how do you get it? What tools do you need to get there? What tools do he have that you don't have to complement each other that can get y'all both to where y'all want to be, collectively and individually? We don't have our priorities in order. Everybody seems to want to be in a rush to be married. Marriage is a task like anything else. It requires effort. It requires work. You're talking about taking on the understanding the dynamics of a whole nother person and a whole nother personality, their psychological makeup, their emotional makeup. You're talking about engaging and trying to build with someone. How do you even come to understand their psychological and emotional makeup when you don't even understand your own? I mean, our priorities, in my opinion, are just topsy-turvy. It's like all over the place. It's, I don't, you know, I tell my sons all the time, first thing first, you want to put yourself in a position to learn who you are, put yourself in a position to achieve your individual goals. If you meet somebody along the way, cool. If you meet somebody after the fact, when you've got yourself established, that's cool as well. But do not put chasing a woman, do not put it as a top priority, because some of y'all may sit and say, well, you know, a good woman brings out the best in a man. A lot of us are not even men. Having a penis, paying the bill, and being a particular age, or having grays in your beard and your hair don't make you a man. It's a mindset, in my opinion. It's a level of maturity. And a lot of us just don't got it. I'm just scratching the surface of it, to be real with y'all. I was very immature for a very long time. I was a coward. I was a liar. I was a lot of things. I put on facades. I shared all these things with y'all. It just comes a point in time when you be like, you know what, man, enough is enough. Grow up. But a lot of us are afraid to. A lot of us in our minds, we do stuff like this. I'm going to just use American Idol as an example, and I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this. Because I saw a sister post on Instagram. I do not know this sister, but I think that a lot of us don't realize that what we post on social media is an extension of our conscious and our subconscious. Most people say they just post for fun. It don't mean nothing. Me personally, I'm not posting nothing that I don't stand on. And I think most people look at social media that way, and they ain't going to tell you it. But that's what it is. You're not going, even if it's comical, you're not going to post comedy this degrading. I would hope you wouldn't, because you have some morals and you have a standard. Yet, I'm going to get to the point. The sister said, ladies, you got wifey material written all over you. It's not your fault that he can't read. On American Idol, the subjects that go sing, it's a panel of judges that rate them to say, oh, you meet this standard. Let's say wifey material is a standard. I say that to say in no industry does the subject get to rate itself. Again, in no industry does the subject get to rate itself. A lot of us are self-proclaimed husband material. A lot of us are self-proclaimed wifey material. A lot of us are self-proclaimed entrepreneurs. A lot of us are self-proclaimed everything. And to be quite honest, it's all a facade, man. It's little boys and little girls hiding behind these facades, and they scared and they have no idea of who the hell they are. We got to help each other. We got to be willing to come and talk about these things. Yo, our priorities are out of whack, man. Especially in African-American culture. Not all. From my experience, those that I have engaged or know on a personal level, it's only a good 10% that I know that understands. And they're doing well. And they actually are in relationships, and their relationships are tremendous. But because we make certain things priority over the other, I'm not saying be selfish. But at 18, 21, 22, 23, look at your track record. If you're an adult more than you're a child, right? You're a kid for 18 years. After that, if you live 40 years, that's more time as an adult than as a child. Let's say you've been in a relationship from the age of 15, sophomore, junior year, to the age of 36. When the hell, I mean, even if it's just in and out of relationships throughout that time frame, when did you really sit down and understand who the hell you were? When did you have time? You were so busy trying to be something that you wasn't without even knowing the core foundational principles of who the hell you are in character. You don't know what your psychological makeup is. You don't know what your emotional makeup is. You don't know what your emotional triggers are. You don't know what your psychological triggers are. You're subjecting yourself to circumstances that's unnecessary when you can just take your time, pace yourself. It's a marathon. It ain't a race. I'm going to leave it at that. Part 2 coming to y'all soon. Tap into that email, mentalmadnessnwk@gmail.com, mentalmadnessnwk on Instagram and on TikTok. I appreciate you all. Press that subscribe button, leave a comment, let's chop it up, let's build each other up, ain't no tearing down. I'm going to point out the obvious, and I'm going to be honest with you all about me, and I'm going to share with you my struggles and my imperfections so we can see that I'm relatable as you may be relatable to me. Let's talk about it, all right? Peace and blessings, man.
Never been perfect, but I'm forgiven, alive in the sun. Thank God it
told me I wouldn't be nothing but a statistic, dead or in prison. Look how I'm living. Never been perfect, but I'm forgiven, alive in the sun. Thank God it risen.